My nose running. Got my shades open. It's a whole skyline in the city's right in front of my face. Yeah. I'm in a zone this year, it's all fire. Nigga, check my attire. Your worst fears confirm your reign at the top expires this year. No application, I'm higher this year. This in dedication to that bitch to slash my nigga tires. Oh yeah, I knew about you. Bitch, I knew about you. Came up on a good nigga and he ain't have a clue about you. Try to tell the nigga. Don't trust that bitch as far as you can smell a nigga.
Yo, what's good? What's good? Bad news guy, what's good, Zach? Early? A little bit. I'm low-key slightly late. I'm slightly late, like 4 or 5 minutes late. But it's all good, though. It's all good. It's all good. What's good, C? What's good? Let me get everything pulled up because you know how these streams have been getting expeditious lately. Let me get that pulled up. Oh, I didn't mean to pull that. I just need this. Rob Dillingham clips. We got a Rob Dillingham clips pulled up. But what's good though? What's good, Loving Hoops? I've been locked in. Hold on. I told y'all a little while ago. I've been fixing my jump shot. It has been smooth. I've been making one little change, and each and every single day I'm learning something new. Like it'd be like some of the tiniest things and some of the like little things you got to tell yourself to make the right adjustment. And as you continue to stack the mini battles, right? Them little battles, like not necessarily mnemonic, but like something you always repeat to yourself so then you can make the right adjustment. But I've been doing that lately. I've been locked in. Almost 40K. I ain't gonna lie, we about to be at 40K at the end of this week. Zay. We got some bangers dropped. We had a banger drop yesterday, banger video drop. Gotta have another one probably tomorrow when I drop the video for this Rob Dillingham breakdown. And then of course the rest of the breakdowns throughout this weekend for the Summer League. So locked in, bro. I've low-key had a hectic day too. I had to get my whole car fixed today too. That show's ridiculous, but here I am, still on time. Just finished my last game of the summer for my team. We got third. Now time to work. Hey Swishy, I think you may have said this before. You may have said this last stream. I'm not sure if this was you or not. I think it was. But make sure you know what you're about to work on before you get into your high school season. Make sure you know what you're about to work on. Don't go into this summer. Don't go into this off season, and then like just wait like 2-3 weeks and then feel like you're stuck and you're lost. Reflect on the things as to which you were bad in throughout the summer, and then also think about what you're going to need for the fall winter basketball season. So make sure you're doing that. If you're looking at Rob, you gotta look at TSJ. Too, he gonna be a problem. Hey, the thing about him TSJ is that that's the other dude on this team, Terrence Sharp or some shit, Terrence Shannon. I think, yeah, Terrence Shannon. I don't know why I keep saying Sharp because it's Shannon Sharp. Those two names always come together, Shannon Sharp. Like, it's crazy. You refer to somebody by their first and last name, which is weird. But, yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr. Yeah, he's solid, though. The thing about his game, too, what I noticed when I watched both of Rob's games, is that he gets his buckets the simple ways, right? And I don't think y'all understand that it's easier for you and it's better for your game to be built off of learning the easy way to score and then adding the next level instead of trying to go to the complex stuff first and then trying to figure out that other stuff later. And what usually happens is that the complex stuff becomes like you get so lost within that is that you also get stuck within it and you never want to try to go to anything else that might be even more simple. So just build from the bottom up. And so whenever he does get to the point where it's like, all right, let me add in a 1 dribble pull up. All right, boom, I got that. 2 dribble pull up. Boom, I know how to use that. All right, now I know how to have a go move into a pull up. And then I'm not just doing things off the spot up. I'm doing it off the pick and roll, doing off of handoffs, off of pin downs, like whatever his way of scoring is going to be in the future. So he's got a good future ahead. He said he clicked the AE breakdown not knowing goals zeros, and he said he thought it was AE talking about how big and number one option. You got it click. Yo, that's wild as fuck. That's wild, Zay. That's crazy. And the thing is, I don't even know how he thought that because my thumbnails are not like some interview style of thumbnail where it's just like a picture of just Ant or some shit with a microphone. That's crazy though. That's hilarious. But that video got straight gems, and it was probably one of my best videos I did because it's a 10 and a half minute video, no cuts. That shit is no cuts. I literally chopped it start to finish from the stream. And then had like added a couple of effects, set that shit on YouTube. That shit was an immaculate video. We about to have one of those today as well. So, I remember you said last time you're going to break down Rob Dillingham. Now look where we are. Hey, this is probably not going to be the last Rob Dillingham breakdown, by the way. This is not going to be the last Rob Dillingham breakdown. Just letting y'all know that right now. It's definitely not going to be the last. You're going to have more to come in the near future. Very more to come. And let me say more about Rob Dillingham, too. Him being in Minnesota, I'm going to highlight it more in the breakdown, but he's going to have to learn a lot about defense from Mike Conley. It's a great thing that he does have Mike Conley there, but I don't think he's going to – there's no way I see him starting this year because defense. I don't see him starting this year because of defense. It's going to take him some years until, like, Mike Conley begins to drop off. But he could definitely come in and provide some quick scoring. But his defense is really behind par. He could still get better. It's just behind par right now. Just very behind par. First time in chat was what's good, Zanel? What's good? By the way, Zanel, if this is your first time pulling up, let me know where you're from. Do you hoop? And if you do hoop, what's the game like? And if there's anything you got questions about to get better, let me know. Timberwolves defensive mentality fun to watch. Timberwolves defensive mentality, but yet Rob Dillingham don't got that defensive mentality. I want to see if he is able to develop that. Because the offense, you don't got to worry about that. Because you know that's going to be natural for all hoopers to get the offense. But the defense, to learn how to get down and guard and learn how to actually move as a defender, that's a completely different thing. You don't see too many people be able to make that shift, make that jump. How do you think Rob's defense about to stack up with the Wolves defense? He's got a long ways to go. Like I was saying, he's got a long ways to go, Magic. He's got a long ways to go. A long ways to go. And when I mean long ways to go, you got to look at the standard as to which the Minnesota Timberwolves defend. Meaning that they're the number one defense last year. And I heard that one of the stats that they had from last season is there are 23 games where they held teams under 100 points. He's gonna have to really learn how to guard if he wants to get a spot. And mind you, it's not gonna be as generous as well when it comes to making defensive mistakes. Like some of the shit I'm gonna show y'all in this breakdown is like, all right, you made that one mistake and you're playing with the Timberwolves, you're literally getting subbed right out, and you're gonna get an earful from Chris Finch. I don't even know if he's one of those type of coaches, but I just know damn well that if you're at the top of the West and you just have a squad like that, you're most definitely going to get an earful from him, and then probably your main assistant coach, and then whoever else it might be as well. Ant as well, Rudy, all those dudes. McDaniels, they all going to give you an earful, especially as a rookie. So he's got to get prepared for that. It's really going to boil down to his mental toughness, his mental fortitude. How do I make JV as a small guard? That always starts, your ability to do something always starts with what you're good at doing. So you got to reflect and think, what am I best at when it comes to this game? And you got to literally run with it. Like you got to take off with it. Meaning that you go into the gym, you're working on that skill and you're trying to perfect it, continuously working at it, and then adding layers according to that main strength that you have. So that always starts with self. You got to think about self, what separates you from everyone else, and then just play you to your best ability. He was fouling like crazy. I ain't gonna lie. He was a little too hyperactive. He had happy feet. He was antsy. I got a couple of clips to show that, but it got bad. Where is that? How do you think he can train his defense? Depends on. Honestly, judging from Rob, what I've seen, I'm not gonna say it depends on this or that because I've seen him play defense, and I can kind of pinpoint it. At least from my experience in improving defense on my behalf, it begins with improving your defensive movement, right? I don't even want to tackle anything that might have to do with his reactiveness, his anticipation, or his defensive IQ, if he can't even move in the proper planes that a defender needs to move in to be an elite defender on the ball and then off the ball as well a little bit, right? And so that's just overall improving your ability to move while being bilateral. Because when you're playing offense, you're unilateral. You're taking steps, you're in lunges, you're in sprints. But when you're playing defense, your feet are side by side, right? A little wider than shoulder width apart. You're down low in the base and you're trying to move laterally. And so that's a completely different movement pattern than it is for offense, which is why someone like Luka is a magnificent offensive mover, but when it comes to defense, he can't move his feet, right? He can't really move his feet for real. He could do it a little bit, but not to the extent that you need to stop somebody who's moving unilaterally like they are on offense. And so I would start with the movement, right? I would improve his movement. I would improve his groin strength and length, improve his ability to open up his hips, his his abductors, like those little hip muscles that rotate internally and externally that have to deal with all that sort of movement. Ankle stiffness, probably be solid right there. Shifting weight in the lateral plane as well. That's something else I'd work on. And then reactiveness, quick twitch, switching, flipping hips, like little things like that. And then after I see that, then it's like, okay, get your reps in and see how you move and see what your reactiveness is like. And then that's where you could kind of correct tendencies. You could correct those improper decisions and those anticipations and all those little things. So that's where I would start. Start with the movement. Who's your favorite player that was drafted? I'm gonna keep it Bean Tsunami. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep it a Bean. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't really have a favorite player who was just drafted. I'll have to see as time goes along and see whose game I like and also like who's just dope as a person as well. Because for me, it's not just about a player's skill set, but it's also about who they are and like where that comes from, like the root of their entire game. So, where is that? I'm gonna get through these questions and we about to start the breakdown. What are ways I could work on my defense? I guard anyone on a high school team. When I played an overseas player, I got cooked. Of course, the first time playing overseas, dude, of course you're gonna get cooked. I got work handed to me when I was playing against my overseas players for like the first times. So it is what it is. Like that's your realization. So just at least shows you got a long way to go, but at least you want to be able to take steps so you can get to where you need to get to. And so I would say as a defender, actually I have a defensive workout. I have one defensive workout, a full-length defensive workout posted in my school community. So if y'all want to improve movement, I got one on that, but I'm really focused on building my shooting program right now. I got 6 weeks of my shooting program done. So I got that done right now. I got some stuff in my moving program working, but I'm going to continue to post workouts that are specifically for defense, right? And it could be literally just something you add in, you do maybe 2-3 times a week, and it could be able to help you. So I would say pay attention to those workouts, 1. And then 2, experiment. I'll say experiment, meaning experiment particularly when it comes down to your defensive base. Like how wide you keep your feet, how low you play, like all those little things. You need to find the perfect range you play defense against certain players so you could have the proper speed to stay in front. A lot of people don't talk about that variability when it comes to your defensive capacity, right? When you guard a different player, it's really going to change how you need to keep your stance. So if you're guarding a super small and quick guard, you're going to make sure your base is oriented towards your ability to stay in front and be quick and be twitchy and jump out and be able to beat them to a spot. But if you're playing against someone who's slower on the perimeter, you're probably going to be maybe more heavy set on your feet. You don't have to worry so much about beating them to a spot. Well, you will have to, but you'll also then worry about your ability to take contact and get hit, right? And so your base is going to be different as a whole. And so being able to figure out your ranges and your defensive stances, your defensive styles according to who you're guarding, that's probably the first step to take. So just experiment and figure out where you're the most twitchy, where you're the most strong, but then you lose a little bit of speed, and like just there's going to be overall balance between all that stuff, and you should be straight. That's something I never knew because in high school your coach just says, oh, get low, so get wide. You know what I'm saying? The low man wins every single time. But in reality, it's not like that, right? I could be higher than the person I'm going against, but if I'm quicker and I'm also functionally strong while being being taller, being more vertical, I'm winning that matchup, right? You're winning that matchup. So it all depends on you and the best way you defend. So I'll say start there. Revert. You could do either or. I'm doing 100% right now, but you could do 75-25, but it depends on how much you need that second skill. So me personally, I'm doing 100. Like I'm going 100% all in on shooting right now. So every time I go into the gym, I don't do ball handling. I don't do finishing. I don't do the micro drills. I don't do anything for defense. I don't do like pick and rolls, nothing. I keep the shit simple, fundamental, basic. I get in there, get my shots up, I get my reps in. And it's been working a lot for me every single workout. So like learning little shit about my guide hand, particularly like how to place the weight of the ball onto my guide hand. That's something I realized today. Like I always place the weight of the ball when I have the ball in my guide hand, like towards like down here in my hand, right? But like towards the end of my workout, I began to shift it towards the weight being on towards my fingertips, right? Being on my actual fingers and going up to the top towards my fingertips. So now instead of trying to always place the weight of the ball like I used to do with my thumb, when I would put my thumb down instead of having my thumb up here, I can now be in more control of the ball because I'm using these 4 fingers to then control this side of the ball. And this thumb could be relaxed because it's already much shorter than all my other 4 fingers. And now, boom, I'm getting to my shot. It's a lot more consistent. So that's like little things I end up realizing in the workout. I'm like, oh, if I shift this, shift that, and then, oh, if I start with my toe raised in this footwork, like, be a little things, bro. Be a little things. But from Chicago, I do hoop. I miss some of the stuff you said though. It's all good. It's all good. If you got any questions, the last thing I said was if you got any questions about what you need to get better in, let me know. That was the last thing I said. It'll be interesting for 62 players not really known for defense on the Timberwolves. Exactly. That's another thing for it. What are some steps for changing the jump shot during the offseason? How do you notice the problems? I literally got a whole course on that in my school community, Nathan. I have a video that says how to figure out what's wrong with your jump shot, a 5-step action plan, and then also after 5-step action plan, 4 videos telling you why you missed left or right, why you missed short, why you missed long, and then 3 videos actually. 3 videos telling you why you missed these 4 different ways. And then so I literally have a whole section on that. And then the shooting program afterwards so that you could actually make the adjustments and incorporate the new mechanics that you need for your shot. So, okay. Do you still do one-on-one sessions? Not really. I don't really do one-on-one right now. I'm just focused on shooting. 6'2" with shoes? Wait, is he 6'2" or 6'3"? I'm not sure. I never saw his numbers from if he did do the combine or anything like that. You saying you're going to get minutes this season or just be like the last 2 minutes of the game type? A lot of this depends also on, you can't judge it by summer league. You got to judge about what he does in training camp. So if he's able to actually, you might have room. He might have room. Kyle Anderson is gone. He's with the Warriors, so that 4th spot is open. But I don't know who else they added in. So like, it's going to be a competition to see who gets those rotation minutes. And that should be like an eye opener. Like anytime that spot opens up, you should be going to training camp ready to kill, ready to cook. So even y'all with your high school team, you see a senior leave or someone transfers, bet that. Say less. Open minutes, give me them minutes. Give me them minutes. How do I get better when I train by myself, especially visualizing? Visualizing is just knowing what you're going to see at a certain point in time. So you got to get more knowledgeable of what you're going to see. So then by the time you're in your workout, you already know what to visualize. Like you've already seen it before. Like you know what teammate will be in this spot, teammate will be in that spot when you're running this action. Like you just got to know what you're actually running and the places and times you'll be in certain spots. So when it comes down to that, you just got to make sure you do your studying. You study what you're actually doing and reflecting upon all that you're doing with your team. And most importantly, you're keeping your head up when you play, slowing down and actually kind of thinking things through and seeing it from the front to the back, then you'll be prepared to visualize when you get into your workout. And you just need to get reps in, because then also play real games so you can be able to tap into that as well. Ways I could get drafted in Canada? I have no clue. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Blue XD, you said drafted in Canada. Canada is not my area of expertise. And also stamina workout, conditioning. I could do a conditioning workout. I could do one of those. Does going for one for a while dribbling help while dribbling a basketball help with game handles? I don't know about run. I would just go for walks and then do like change my pace. I'll literally just walk around the park and dribble. That's what I would do to help my handle. That's just literally getting reps in and not trying to always do cone drills. In my opinion, that's better than doing cone drills. Way better than doing cone drills. Defensive small guard, dribble a little bit. Now you got to reflect and think about what specifically in defense where you lack and where in ball handling do you also lack. Like what situations do you feel uncomfortable? How do I become better at shooting? Become a better shooter when I have a fast pace of playing the games. You got to slow down your pace. I don't think y'all realize that you can literally slow down everything that you do in basketball and practically nothing will change. You literally just stand there for a second and say, just breathe and just look around like you're just in a gym. You're hooping, you got jerseys on. But a lot of people lack the experience and allow just the game to speed them up. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I'll do sometimes. I'll literally just stand there and look around and be like, this is a regular gym. It's my home gym, a high school gym, college gym. It's a regular basketball court. But I'm making everything go much faster than it has to, but time doesn't do anything. It's all a construct. And so my perception of time and perception of speed is the only thing that's influenced. And especially when you play the game of basketball and you have the ball in your hand, you're the one in control of the speed, right? But if you allow the person that's in front of you to make you react to them and speed you up, that's a whole different thing. That's when you get sped up. You're not playing at your pace. But I need to get into this breakdown, though. If y'all got any more questions, join the Discord. If you want an even faster response, join the school community. But I got to make sure I get my deposits because I do have a stream cap time, so I can make sure I can do everything I need to do throughout my day. And so we about to get to this breakdown immediately. We just hit 1,000 members in the Discord, by the way. So if you want to join, all that is in the description. All the links are in the description of the live stream. So let me get this pulled up, though. Let's see. Let me find a Rob Dillingham bucket. Let me find a bucket right quick. Where the bucket's at? Let's go this. Boom. Let's go there. And then we're going to go here. And then we're going to go there. Boom. 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 Let's get that. Let's get that. And then we got that. And we posted. And we posted. All right, let me get this off. Let me get that off. Let me post in Discord one more time. Breakdown started now. We get that. All right, we locked in. Let me go to the start. Slow that down. Australia and US are playing. They're playing right now. Like as I speak, they're playing. And they're playing just an exhibition game, so it's not really nothing crazy. You can see a thing or two from it, of course, but ain't nothing crazy. But nonetheless, we got some shit here, Rob Dillingham. Let me get some more water. Rob Dillingham. By the way, I watched the first two games. So you're going to see clips from the first game, see clips from the second game. He played better in the second game a little bit to start, but the consistency throughout the entire game wasn't quite there. Started off very hot, though. But defensively, he was low-key still lacking in both of those games. So let's just get locked in. Let's lock in. So first play of Rob Dillingham in the Summer League, he wasted no time getting up his first shot. First play, let me get that. But on the offensive end, we all know Rob Dillingham. He's shifty, smooth, he got the skill. But that's not what you need to worry about when it comes to his ability to adapt to the NBA game. Because he got drafted by the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were the number 1 defensive team in the NBA last year. And so if Rob Dillingham's going to want to get playing time, that's what's going to matter most. Especially because the offensive stuff, that really comes natural in terms of improvement and finding your spots and getting your flow and your rhythm when moving between levels. So this is what I really want to emphasize throughout this breakdown. So pay attention. Rob Dillingham's guarding Jordan Hawkins, right? And if you just know his play style, he was a rookie last season. He's a shooter, right? And so learning little things like this, how to position yourself so you cannot get exploited in this situation, is going to be key. So when Hawkins gives this up, it's seeming like it's going to be a chase action, right? But there's counters to this according to how Rob is guarding. And so now look at Rob's left hand, right? His left hand, left arm, left shoulder, most importantly. Because when you give access to this to a player like Hawkins, to a player who's really good moving off the ball, that's when he can manipulate your momentum, misdirect you, and now can be able to get into a backdoor or just get into a pull-up like he does right there. And so making sure that when you're guarding shooters, you change your habits, not allowing yourself to give access to that outside shoulder, right? That's going towards where the ball is, because if you do give access, they could get back doors. They could be able to get threes like that right there. And you don't want to give that up. And if he does give that up, Chris Finch yelling at him, getting pulled out the game, pulling Mike Conley or Jordan McLaughlin. That simple. And I'll continue to also watch some of his other defensive possessions. This is another important thing. Defensive ranges. I talk about this a few times, but this time is going to be very important, especially when it comes down to Rob. So defensively, playing at the proper range according to how fast you are is what's going to allow you to be able to stay in front of the ball. You'll see Rob pick up on the ball at half court, 20 seconds on the shot clock, and practically the only reason you may be doing that is because maybe the coach said, all right, put some pressure on the ball. Doesn't mean you have to get all the way up to the ball. Y'all high school hoopers got to understand that. If you know damn well you cannot stay right in front of somebody and you're 50 feet away from the rim, and you won't be able to stay in front of that first dribble that they take and try to get by, back up. You just got to stay in front, right? You just got to stay in front. Leave a little bit of a range according to how fast you guard. And so when Rob begins to pick up at half court, he now gets himself in a spot where he gets bumped. He creates about 8 feet of separation because he doesn't have the functional strength as a defender so that he can be able to absorb that and stay in the proper placing. So now what happens, you open up a lane to this right side, he gets by you, and now foul call on the person on that weak side who is now in a situation where they have to recover for all the things that you did wrong. And so if they do have a foul or two at that point, then you may have to add another one to their total just because you got blown by and you didn't guard in your proper range, right? And so this is something you'll see him do throughout plays quite a few times, right? And this is another time where you're guarding all the way up at half court, 17 on the clock, and now boom, you just get blown by. That's just unacceptable, right? That's just unacceptable. Regardless of the fact he missed it, you cannot allow those plays. And now, just playing in the summer league though, this is not who you really want to focus on, your highest level of competition you're going to be going against. And so even though he did give up some of those blow-bys, he does get himself in a spot where he has some ball pressure. Person may be thinking a little too much, and he ends up getting a steal. They come down, and now he ends up getting here, smoking the leg, right? But you may think, all right, that was a 2-for-1, right? He got blown by twice. He capitalized once. He got 2 points from the free throw line, but then he got here, and then he was able to get a steal, possibly get that bucket. But you got to understand, if he's going to be going against the top guards in the NBA, those steal opportunities are not going to happen. Because just look at who he's going to be going against, right? I just want you to understand this. Let's look at the type of guards he's going to be facing in this Western Conference and the East. Because I don't think some of y'all understand how stacked that is. right? Let's look at the guards that Rob Dillingham will have to defend on a night in and night out basis with that style of defense. Let's just start in the West. Jamal Murray, he's on the Timberwolves. Shea, Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton, not really high caliber, but he's still gonna do his thing. Steph Curry, James Harden, D'Lo, D Book, De'Aaron Fox, Luka and Kyrie, Fred VanVleet, John Morant, DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum, Chris Paul. Let's go to the Eastern Conference. This shit is stacked, right? So that defense really not gonna fly. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Brooklyn. I don't know what the hell Brooklyn is doing. You could do all that shit against Brooklyn. New York, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey. Toronto, you may be able to get some of that shit by. Chicago, Lonzo. I don't know how Lonzo need looking, but let's keep it going. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Heat, kind of mid. Magic, you just got two guards in the backcourt, but Paulo's really the point guard, so they don't really be handling the ball. Then Jordan Poole. You've got practically about 23, 24 elite guards. So that defense is not going to fly. He's going to have to level that shit up. And now let's talk about this other play as well. Giddey is low-key cooking. You talking about Giddey, like Josh Giddey? That's the only Giddey I done heard of before. Proud of your work, Neff. Nikola Jokic loves Falcons. This fucking Z. I know this is Z. Just be trolling all the damn time. And now let's talk about this back door. Yo, what's good, Cyrus? What's good? But pay attention to this back door, though. Like, these little plays like this, you can get benched, right? Little plays like this just will not slide. So he's guarding Jordan Ford, right? Ball gets thrown to the top, thrown down here to 13. And now in a situation like this, you got Jordan Hawkins about to go set a down screen, right? This is an easy switch, right? Boom, I take Hawkins, you stay high, we coolin'. But in a situation here, he decides to go ahead and jump this because he decided to drop back and leave space between him and Ford, so he can't really guide him into this screen and not worry about a backdoor. And now, boom, backdoor happens, throw it right there. In a real situation, you know that in a real game, that shit's you gonna get subbed and get an earful from Finch, main assistant, Ant, Rudy, Cap, Nas Reed, McDaniels, whoever it might be. So I just want to make this disclaimer as well. Let me make this disclaimer. I'm not no Rob Dillingham hater. I'm not someone who just wants to see him lose, someone who wants to see him make mistakes and mess up. I point this stuff out so not only can he do better and be able to see his weaknesses if he ever does even watch this video, but for y'all to be able to reflect and see, oh, I be doing the same shit he be doing on defense. That's why I be getting burned. That's why I be getting hit with these back doors. That's why I be getting blown by, right? It's all for you to get better and to improve, and not for me to try to sit here and find somebody's flaws and show why they're not good and why they'll never be good. Because when you have the perspective of growth, you'll realize that all your mistakes and failures are going to be what's going to allow you to become great. So just had to make that disclaimer right quick. Y'all need to understand. And mind you, I made the same mistakes my damn self, and I still do to this day, because we not perfect when we hoop. You know what I'm saying? You can never be perfect. The best thing you can do is be aware. How do I know when to tag back foot or top foot? That's a very simplistic way to think of attacking it, and I'll continue to say this. Don't worry about the foot you need to attack. Worry about the spacing that you have on the floor, right? Worry about where there's space. And so you need to read the 4 other help defenders instead of reading the defender that's in front of you. Because if you do get a step on the person that's in front of you, according to their back foot or front foot, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to get past them, and then you're going to see 4 other defenders. And then you're going to panic and make the wrong decision. So you could go ahead and attack the top foot every time, and then roll the dice on whether or not you'll be able to make a play on that weak side, depending if there's space. Or you could just make it simpler for yourself. Read if there's space, and then determine if you want to attack the top foot or just attack the back foot, or whatever direction you want to go and attack. It really is not so much important about who's directly in front of you. It's more about what space there is on the floor, because you're getting guarded by 5 people, not just 1. So pay attention to those other 4. Thank you for the breakdowns. No problem. This is my pleasure. This is my joy. What do you think Brown did not get picked for US? He could be playing right now. political stuff, political reasons, similar to Kyrie stuff, but not, he didn't do the same stuff, but it's just like, oh, you said the X, Y, and Z about Nike or about whoever it might be, they don't want to have him on the roster. If he was like a KD caliber player, then it'll be tough to be able to say no, but he isn't though. Where's that? I want to see how he improves defensively being on the Wolves and IQ from Conley. Yeah, that's what I'm interested to see too. And I also feel as though the Spurs didn't want to partake in that project of like improving him on that side of the ball as much as he's going to need to. And also dealing with how sporadic, not necessarily sporadic, but how much of short-term memory he has as a scorer with Wemby on the floor. So I don't know. I think they wanted that type of stuff coming out of there. Are you going to do a breakdown on the number 1 pick? If it's prompted, because it seemed like all the picks that are not in the like top 10 are the best, are the more interesting players to watch. So maybe at some point, you know what I'm saying, if you're doing this thing, I may peep it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll see. Make the same mistakes on defense? Exactly. You see it at all levels, man. You see it at all levels. You just got to look at what these players do and connect it back to what you do. A lot of players just watch. They don't try to connect it back to how they hoop. But let's keep it going in a second, though. This is another gem, right? So, playing in modern basketball, transition has become one of the most prominent ways to score, right? And so now on the defensive side, once again, how are you going to be able to be a good defender in transition? And the tough part about that is that when you play a transition, you're going backwards. So it's not like you're sitting there guarding somebody that's right in front of you. You're just going left to right, really. You got to go left and right and have another degree of movement that's going to take you back, right? You got to learn how to guard going backwards. And so in a situation like this, you'll see oftentimes that Rob would pick up on the ball. He's getting attacked straight on. He just doesn't even guard going backwards. He just stopped right there and then, right? He just practically stops right there and then. Another transition situation from game 2. Going backwards, now you got it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a skill thing. That's a movement thing. That's something you have to learn, something you have to train so that you can be able to move in that plane. A lot of people are just only good going left and right, but you'll see elite defenders, particularly like the Marcus Smarts, right? Particularly Marcus Smart. You'll see him a shit ton backpedaling and knowing how to turn his hips, flip them, get into that semi-sprint base, stay legal, show hands, all that stuff. So if you want to watch somebody see an example of how to play elite defense going backwards, Marcus Smart's going to be one of those dudes that y'all should watch. Kobe Williams breakdown, maybe. Elliot could do. I heard an Elliot could do breakdown before. Who is he? He's playing for somebody right now. Who he playing for? I don't be tuned in, bro. If y'all know me, I don't really be tuned in for. I don't know where a lot of players really be going. I couldn't even tell you who was number 1 pick when they asked me, "Who are you gonna watch the number 1 pick?" You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even sure. He's at UNC still. I thought he slid out. That's why y'all saying to do an Elliot Kadu breakdown. But shit, he was only averaging like 7 points or some shit like that. So I've done it, bro. Have y'all even searched Pat DOR Elliot Kadu? Because I have an Elliot Kadu breakdown. I already have one. That's on my channel. I have a live stream and I have a video breakdown. So if you want the full thing, boom, go to the live stream. If you just want boom, small little portion, go to the video. Just go ahead and watch both. You know what I'm saying? Help me up that ad revenue. So go ahead and go search that up because I already have an Elliot Kadu breakdown that's up. So now let's talk about his offensive game. Let's talk about Rob's offensive game. So Jordan Hawkins hits this 3 in the corner, hits his head on the court side seat, right? Hole in the back of his head. And now Jordan Hawkins was Rob Dillingham's main matchup, and he's trying to get back, but his head hurting. And so now Rob just brings the ball down. He's already got his mismatch. And this is where we know Rob Dillingham is going to do Rob Dillingham because he's just been doing this his whole life. This offensive stuff, making plays, whether it's him getting his own bucket or setting up a teammate. And so understand, in situations like this is where it's so vital to be able to keep your head up. because a lot of players will make their first move or make their second move or change direction, and then their eyes will be down or they're already looking to get to the rim and not be able to see what's really available. But if you just keep your head up in these situations, you'll see exactly this. The second that he hops in to plug in that lane, he kicks it right to the corner. Boom, gets straight to Shannon, and then he's able to get that bucket, right? Keeping your head up in those situations is going to be vital. And I also want you to understand this about the offensive end, because going from college to the NBA, there's one thing that also shifts that mentally is going to feel a little weird to start and you're going to have to get used to, which is the shot clock down here. And with the shot clock changing, the third of it also changes. So the amount of time you have to get the ball from the backcourt to the front court is no longer 10 seconds, it's 8 seconds. And you no longer don't have those 6 more seconds to score. It's now at 24. Bigger court and everything. And so as a point guard going from college to the NBA, the amount of time it takes you to get up the court and now to get into your sets is going to be something you're going to have to get used to speeding up. Because now Rob is initiating the action at 15 on the shot clock. It took him 9 seconds to bring the ball from the other baseline now to the three-point line and begin the first handoff. And so now I want you to think about it like this. Not all possessions are going to be as quick as this one will be right here, right? Let me just show you how this possession ends as well, right? Not all possessions are going to be this fast where you get a look off the first action, right? What it usually is going to happen is that you may need to have 2 actions, possibly 3 actions. And so if you spent 9 seconds bringing the ball up the floor, instead of being quick and then maybe taking about 5 seconds, getting from A to B as fast as possible, using pace as well, of course, so you don't get manipulated by the speed of the defender and don't get out of your own pace, is going to allow you to be able to run in extra action if you do reach the back end of that shot clock. So now, if we begin an action at around 19, right, maybe even 20, now we could run an action, boom, may take about 5 seconds, 5, 6 seconds. All right, we don't got it, boom, we could run another action, 5, 6 seconds. All right, if we don't have another one, now we have someone who can get into isolation down with 7 seconds or so on the clock after running 2 actions, and then go straight into something and actually be able to read the floor and not worry about, oh shit, I'm at 4 seconds, I got to go do some quick shit. You don't got to worry about that, which is why clock efficiency, shot clock efficiency is extremely important in the NBA. It'll give you that one more action that you need to be able to then generate a high quality look. And now these little offensive possessions here as well. I usually don't point out like little misses unless I realize their habits, right? And so these next 2 possessions, pay attention to where Rob is going to drive and where he's going to jump off of and how the shot is going to finish. This possession, he's going right, left foot, going towards that baseline, floats it, breaks it, right? That's the first one. I usually overlook those plays because I'm like, all right, you just missed it. Just touch was bad the first time, right? But when I begin to see it multiple times, that's when it's like, okay, that's something, because that shows it's a habit, right? And it's something that's going to need adjustment. So now getting down here, transition. You're going to see that on both of these plays, Rob was going practically full speed towards the rim, towards his right side, left foot, float, bricks them both. And so that in itself showed a deficiency in his ability to have a soft touch while going that max speed necessary for him to get his angle. And so in order for him to soften up his touch, he could essentially slow down, right? He could slow down his speed. So now I don't have to worry about disassociating these 2 things so much. And now my touch is a little better. I can find the spot off the glass. But if he slows down, he's not going to be able to get to the spot that he got to have a good look. And so he's got to get better at controlling his maximum speed according to with the touch that he has, so then he could be able to boom, float, and then be able to get the bucket. And so that's a challenge a lot of players struggle with when it comes down to finishing. And you'll see that a lot with particularly Russell Westbrook, right? Russell Westbrook got all this steam, right? He has what you seen Rob do, but on crack, right? Times 10. He's able to get there, boom, all this momentum, all this steam, and all the lays that he does is low off the glass, right? Anytime you see Russ do a lay, you're not going to see him get above the square, right? It's going to be right below that, or get above the square. It's always going to be below the square. It's always going to be tight around the rim because he cannot have such a soft touch with all the steam that he has. And so improving that touch according to how fast you're going is a skill that's necessary to be an elite finisher. What players do you think you're gonna get? You think gonna get drafted next year? I don't really know the class too much, but I mean the guys that you put there as well probably may get drafted. Ian Jackson, Cooper Flagg, Trey Parker. We'll see, because some players translate, some players may not. I'll low-key just have to look a couple videos over some players and be like, okay, they'll translate. Oh, they won't translate. I think Ian Jackson will. Cooper Flagg most definitely will, because I've watched Ian Jackson on stream before, and I've watched Cooper Flagg on stream before as well. So I kind of have a gist for their game. So, and also, Ian Jackson with Elliot Kadu still there is going to help him a lot. It's going to help him a lot. I just realized I just put those two together because Elliot Kadu is a pass-first point guard. So, and especially I've watched Elliot Kadu before, and I've seen the way he makes plays and how he initiates things and his selflessness, right? And having Ian Jackson on the wing is going to help a lot. And don't they have another 5-star going there? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure they have another 5-star wing going to UNC. So that Duke versus UNC game may be crazy. That game gonna be crazy. Dylan Harper, isn't he going to like Arkansas or some shit? Dylan Harper is probably gonna translate as well. He'll probably translate. He had fantastic pace as a point guard. I watched him last summer. That was a Twitch days. A lot of y'all weren't here for the Twitch days, but I watched a lot of high school players around that time. And I'm pretty sure I still have the videos up here on YouTube for when I did watch those players. So, what do I think about TSJ? He's smooth. His game tough. Very strong lefty player. Very strong left. But when he adds layers to his games, adding the dribble pull-ups, adding like the little layers, like the simple stuff, and then progressing, gonna be tough. Ace Bailey, Tahad. Oh yeah, Tahad as well. He's just undersized. He's gonna have to find a way to be able to utilize or to be able to leverage his speed or just play smarter than everyone else so you look over his eyes. So the next class is going to be tough. If these players do pan out. It'll be very interesting to see who's able to get there and who's not able to. So Twitch fam, indeed. People weren't here for the Twitch days, man. A lot of people weren't here for the Twitch days. So here too, it's a lot of bad habits. A couple of bad habits, as a matter of fact. So now, they may not get burned on this possession, but just understand the habits, right? Understand the habits and how this will translate and what this will show for times when you will get burned, right? Rob Dillingham on the left wing. You got backdoor cut, right? Luckily, his teammate came over. That's what a teammate should do. Help you when you are out of position. So, great job by his teammates. So now Rob is guarding 23 over here in the corner, right? They just made that switch. Whole time they switch, he probably even take a glance to that right corner. So now this shot goes up. He just watches the shot, and now offensive rebound. Two things on the same possession where Chris Finch sees that, Rudy sees that, Ant sees that, earful. So he's better learn from him now, fix those habits so that you don't got to go through the entire process of being in the game, getting pulled out in 30 seconds, pulled out in 60 seconds, just because you made this one mistake, right? And it's really a mental thing, right? Making the trigger to where you see a shot go up, oh, okay, I go and I hit. Now, when you play help defense, you make sure that your eyes are split between the player that you're guarding and where the ball is, and positioning your body accordingly. Chest to man, eyes down the middle, use your peripheral, see both, right? Making those little adjustments will refrain him from being subbed out like that, right? Just like that. I mean, it's not like I got to go and shoot like shooting where I got to go get 1,000 shots up. You don't got to go play defense, I say, like 1,000 times, because if you just fix what you think of mentally in those situations and actually begin to think in those spots, those habits are gone. Literally could be gone overnight. Coach Cal treatment, yeah. I'm gonna most definitely be peeping a lot of college stuff. There's gonna be a lot of interesting breakdowns. If y'all are not subbed right now, you better make sure you subscribe, because this is just the start. This is the summer. This is summer league, right? And so when the fall comes around, when the NBA season starts, with these teams, with the squads that we seeing, The Bucks trying to come back and do something. We got the Sixers who doing their thing. We got Pelicans. We got shit. The Lakers still gonna be doing the Lakers bullshit. The Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, all these new squads forming up. And then we also got college basketball on top of that as well. So if y'all not sub, y'all tweaking. Y'all tweaking. Y'all better join the party early before the party gets too big. Before a party reaches its capacity. I'm just trolling though. There ain't no capacity because DOR to the stars. But let's get back to this though. Let's get back to this. This is a good defensive possession. This is a good defensive possession. And so y'all got to take note of this. This is a good habit. This is something you should reinforce. So now playing off the ball somewhere where you could just begin to make a mark and not have to worry about having these ultra instincts and some extreme level of quickness. So you just seen Rob's man cut from that corner, right? Cut from this right side corner. And now what Rob is going to do is that even though he's leaving, he's not spaced and he's not a threat while he's still cutting, right? And so Rob is still seeing where the ball is. And so what's going to happen is that when Hawkins decides to reject this screen, Rob is already engaged on this weak side. And he's not just going to stay underneath the rim and wait for Hawkins to step up to him. He's going to step up high and cut off Hawkins' angle, make him pick the ball up early. And now on this left side, you also got 14 who's now surrounding him. So if he's trying to make a play, the ball's already picked up, he can't make no play. He has no room. Now, boom, he's able to end up getting there, getting that steal. High level play right there. Then you got Shannon Jr. coming down with that lefty jam. So he still has some good plays. And on the off-ball side of things, that's where you can really leave an imprint. It doesn't really require as much work as it takes, physically at least, as it does guarding on the ball. Because it's really a mental game when playing off the ball. Being in the right spots, instinct, seeing the lanes before it happens, knowing the plays that are going to happen, right? Knowing rotations. It's a mental game when you play off the ball, which is why you could hide any disadvantage physically with what you could do off the ball defensively. And now we're going to get into some more offensive stuff here towards the second half of this breakdown. Rutgers, Duke, and UNC. Duke and UNC this year. It's going to be very interesting. But now, I remember when I watched the Rob Dillingham game in Kentucky, right? He went to this move right here about 3 times, right? I believe 3 times in one game. That step back right there in that mid-range. And so that just shows, okay, that may be one of his favorite moves to go to. So now Rob Dillingham's behalf, right? I've got to do a better job of when I do get into a handoff, I get into a pick and roll. I don't seek a step back. I just get myself in position to where I could use the step back. Because it may not be there sometimes, which is why you got to make sure you keep your eyes open, you keep your options open so that you can be able to make whatever play you need to make. All he needs to do is just get himself in these ranges. In the pick and roll, slow down your pace in the mid-range so you could maybe use a step back, and then even if you want to add another layer, get that floater in there. So now you're adding all these layers onto something that's to which you're already really good at and you're comfortable doing. So that's something you can really rely upon and then improve his overall pick and roll, handoff, downhill game. And now here too. This is the hyperactiveness I be talking about, right? I don't know if y'all be seeing the same type of defense, but I want you to kind of think back to like a premature Stephen Curry, right? Like a 2010, 2012, you know what I'm saying, Steph, when he was guarding, and how hyperactive and how happy his feet were, right? How twitchy he was as a defender. And so when you see defenders just move this much when guarding the ball, stepping up, stepping to the side, being very twitchy, always trying to beat someone somewhere, like that hyperactiveness signals somebody who doesn't necessarily know and hasn't established what they want to do as a defender and leading the person that they're guarding. Do I want to send them right? Do I want to send them left? It's just like they're trying to beat them to every single thing that they do. But as a defender, you can't. You can't beat them to everything. You're going to always give up something. And so all that movement signifies a lack of understanding of where you want to lead them and what you want to do with the person that you're defending. But nonetheless, I want y'all to see what happens on this other side, right? Where they end up getting this steal. right? That hyperactiveness didn't really do anything in terms of them getting burned and scored on. But now they're out here in transition. Rob gets this catch, could easily get himself a 2 and improve his field goal percentage that everybody's going to look at after the game is done and say, oh, how well did Rob play? Oh, he was 2 for 12. This could have made him 3 for 12 and it wouldn't have been as bad. Would have been better than having just 5 points. You would have had 7, right? And so now here, he drops it off to his teammate. Selfish. They're selfless, right? Very selfless as a player, as a playmaker. Anytime you even see him in isolation, he'll give the ball up willingly. And so that's a great sign to have just as a point guard coming into the league young as well. He uses footwork for offense on defense. Essentially you can, but like I said before, they're different planes of movement. So you could, but it'll be tough. It's tough. There's a whole different like system of movement and like even just the reactiveness that you need. So I want you to pay attention to this. This is something as to which he made an adjustment on, but something you could get conscious of and improve on even more as things go forward. So when you have the floor spaced out like this, right? Rob's got a ball screen going to his left. And now if you look at the spacing, he's got one person in that left corner, then 2 players on that right side, right wing, and right corner. And so with the big this high up on the screen, right, you have that whole left wing because you got 2 on that right side. And so look at the angle Rob takes when he goes to attack. He goes directly into the body of the big, which stops him from being able to actually turn the corner. Because if you take into account responsibilities, if he goes left, that strong side corner will now begin to will begin to move back towards their man, right? The strong side corner will not help in. And if they do, easy kick. And so the angle that he's got to take coming off the screen has got to be wide. He's got to use all the space that he has over here on his left wing so that he could be able to get around the big and then be able to put pressure on that strong side corner and make him say, am I going to plug in on this drive? And if they do, you kick. If they don't, you got to lane to the rim. And if they help on that weak side, boom, you kick. You got them in rotation, right? Got them in rotation. And now it's like, okay, you may be thinking, I could kind of imagine what he means by that, but I need to actually see it. And so you're going to see Rob actually make the adjustment a little bit later on in the game. Probably wasn't conscious with it, but nonetheless, the adjustment was made physically. Maybe not mentally, but at least physically. And so you got the same exact style of spacing, but you have a horns at the top, right? You got 2 screens set here at the top. So nonetheless, you got 2 to that right, and then you have a big on his left who's going to end up stepping up high and then someone in this corner. And so what Rob does this time is actually use all the space, get damn near all the way to the sideline, and now he's able to change direction, navigate, and create space and generate a high-quality look from that left wing. Despite the miss, you understand the concept. When I have that empty wing, right, I could use all the space that's on the wing. So just as a player, anytime you have space, use it. Don't restrict yourself to a certain movement, to a certain move, just because you want to use a move or you want to do X, Y, and Z. Use all the room that you got. And the more room that you have, the more efficient you will be because the more options you will have to be able to go and score. That's key. That's a gem. Now we're gonna move on to some stuff from the second game. This is the second preseason, or not preseason, but second summer league game. And so I want you to think about this play from his defender's perspective, right? From the start. First play of the game as well, by the way, right? His defender hit on that first screen. As a guard, you hate to get hit on screens, right? That one probably already took a little bit of energy out of him. And so he got hit. His teammates showed. Okay, he's like, all right, I'm back. I'm cool. I'm chilling. So he relaxes again. Another screen. Tries to get past it. Hit once again. And now look at all the separation that there is. That's like 15 feet, right? And when you get this open and get this much separation, particularly in these off-ball actions and these screens or even going into a handoff, you usually won't even be the one to take the shot because it'll probably be someone else that will have to recover for him that you may run across if this is a handoff, right? You got somebody else by you. So now it's your job to be able to find where must I make the read so that I can be able to get the ball to the open man. So now Rob ends up having 2 on him, and now with this roll occurring, you got to read Jarris Walker, right? What is Jarris Walker doing? I got my teammate 32 here lifting up, so I don't got to worry about that wing. What's Jarris Walker doing? He makes his roll. He's still outside this paint. Boom, I could dump that down. Great way to go up in one motion and get that layup. High level play. High level play. And this is another high level play just coming from playing off the spot up. And I know that may be hard for some of y'all to fathom, but it'll be these little details right here that'll make a shot open versus a shot being heavily contested, smothered, right? So look, watch Rob Dillingham on this left side. 12 gets 2 on the ball, pitches his back to 32. Rob's man now steps over to the person who got the first pass. And what Rob is now going to do, he's not just going to stay right exactly where he is, because the second man has got to go rotate and get to him, which would be 26, Shepard, right? And so what Rob does is that he's going to continue to move left in the direction the ball is getting passed to him, so he can get more space and increase the amount of distance Shepard has to go from being in help and being from on the ball to now closing out to Rob. And now Rob has a wide open look from 3 because the space he created from the pass in itself. Boom, give me that 3 to start the game early on. And now here as well, I want to talk about habits and defensive styles, right? I want you to pay attention to who is guarding Rob. So you got 29 on Rob. This is his primary defender to start the game for a portion of the game. And so watch how Rob sets up his screens with 29 guarding him. So he could just call for this drag screen, right? And now he's going to fake to that left side, bring it back to that right, forces 29 to drop down to the level of the screen because that little twitch to that left showed a threat of him rejecting and getting down to the rim. So now he has a better angle coming off the screen, right? And him just simply biting out on that is not something Rob really thought consciously of. But when you have certain defenders, they guard in a certain manner, and it becomes a feel thing when someone is in front of you and recognizing, how could I be able to use my moves and be able to sell the way that they react according to what I do, right? And so your ability just to find what exactly that feel is and see how they guard and what they'll bite out on is going to be important, and is going to make you efficient when it comes down to making plays. So once again, he's got 29 on him, right side, calls for a screen. When the screen gets up, he's not even going to end up rejecting that screen. He just fakes it and drops 29 down to the level of that screen 2 times, right? If I see something once, I may be like, okay, drop it, it's cool. But the second time, right, it's a habit. Second time, it's a habit, and it's something that he's picked up on subconsciously. Probably ain't pick up on it consciously, it's probably subconscious. But when you do kick it into consciousness, that's when you become elite. When you know exactly how certain player guards you and how you can be able to sell your moves according to who's in front of you. So now what ends up happening, Rob has room, boom, pull it from 3 at the top of the key, got that bucket, right? You said, what if they don't bite? That's the thing. I know oftentimes that they will bite, because even if I do try it, right? Say even if I do try it, and in a situation where that style of defender does not bite on that because I may have done it 3 times or they just didn't fall for it, then I'll go ahead and use a screen, right? I'll go ahead and use a screen. And if they decide to go and jump the screen because they're antsy, right, I can go ahead and reject that. It just ultimately depends on how they react to certain things that you do. Ultimately, when it comes down to ball screens, you should want to set every screen that you get up, right? You should want to set all of them up some way, somehow. Whether it's getting lower than the level of the screen that you'll get, or just getting deeper down so that you can kind of work up and then make sure they get hit and clipped on that screen, or maybe faking the rejection and using the screen itself, or just getting there to the screen, then nudging and going over, right? There's different ways you could set the screen up. So regardless, the setup is necessary. And if they decide to do something to jump out on a move, then you just react, right? That's where you begin to play off field. But the most important thing is that even though I'm telling you all this right now, you can't think all this in full time. You can't think all this in real time. You need to just there's certain things that you just got to understand prior to. Then when you go and hoop, you trust yourself in the knowledge that you have to then go and make those decisions. And so it may take time for you to actually make it into habit, but it's a step just to have the knowledge. And then once you even get there, you can even catch yourself. Tell yourself again, then once you get there, you can just let it go and let yourself flow. So I hope Conley can teach a young brother a lot. I'm not a Wolves fan, but I'm going to adopt some. Go Bear and Towns aside, fun ass team to watch. For sure. I don't know why so many people don't be fucking with Rudy Gobert, but shit. Hey, man, I can't really do shit about it. But now I want to talk about this play as well, too. So, now notice this. So, now the Timberwolves run the same play that they ran to start the game. But Rob Dillingham now has got switched with Jarris Walker, right? And Jarris Walker already sees the play was about to happen. He sees the screen. He puts himself in position early on, right? Boom, that screen don't work. Now, how is Rob going to be able to get the ball? If he's even able to get the ball. He's not able to get it because that contact right there by Jarris Walker. And so you see the side discrepancy as soon as they made the switch. And so if Rob even wants to be able to come off the screen and have a good angle for himself so he could get the handoff and then get to that right side, he chase over. You have that drop 33 on the roll. You make the read to that left side and that weak side, right? If they do pull over, whatever it might be, right? If he even wants to be able to get there, he's going to have to embrace this contact and do 3 times as much as Jarris Walker does just because he's much smaller. And you got to even understand this. He could use his entire frame to create space in this situation because as a guard who's way smaller than Jarris Walker, he's not going to flop. Ain't no way he flops. I'm going to get my whole body into him. I'm a chicken wing, do all this stuff, slow down so I can make sure I can be able to get off the screen and have an angle to get this handoff. And so ultimately, those hands right there just blew up the entire possession. And now I want to talk about this. This is the flip side of the play, right? This is where I really knew those 2 plays with 29 was a habit, right? Because now he's got 4 on him, Newton, right? And so when he gets a screen, when Newton is guarding him, screens coming to his right side, what does he do? What does he recognize just by the way 4 guards him, the way he reacts, and his tendencies as a defender? And mind you, this is all a feel thing. He's not thinking this. I can guarantee you he's not thinking it. This is a feel thing, right? I'm just pinpointing and putting words to his feel. And so with his style of defense, he now ends up rejecting these screens. He's not as antsy. He's not going to anticipate all these actions and be so twitchy as much as 29 is, right? Smoke the leg right there and then. That was the first time it happened. Then when I seen this on another opportunity where he just called for his screen, boom, point away, come and set the screen to his right side, once again, I reject and I attack the rim when 4 is guarding me. I'm just putting words to his feel. And so you've got to be able to recognize, how does the person that's in front of me guard? How reactive are they? And then attack according to how they play you on defense. Then he ends up getting here again, out layup. Give me that too. Easy tools. So here too, I want to talk about this possession too. So, oh shit, what the fuck? But peep this as well. So Jarris Walker decided to now become the primary defender for Rob. People was low-key ducking smoke, right? And so Rob ends up coming off the screen, boom, he switches, he's got 8 on him. But with the way this play is, you got yourself right back to your primary defender, and now you're practically in an isolation situation. So what is Rob going to do at this point in time? A lot of players get this point clouded. They get it confused. They begin to think, oh shit, all right, I got an ISO, I got to go and get a bucket. When Rob decides to go and attack, he goes and still keeps his teammates in mind. It doesn't worry about, I'm getting mine, I got to get this bucket, I want to get here, I want to get that. He just makes the right play, right? He just makes the right play. He got to his right side, 10 was sleeping in this corner, even slump on that closeout, boom, hits him, bucket. Willing passer. Willing passer. And now here too, it's pace. It's pace. And let me talk about these actions. What's good? What's good, Hanif? What's good, Hanif? Can you explain how to handle ball pressure and tell everyone where there needs to be at the same time? That's your ability to subconsciously dribble. That's subconscious flow. Your ability to dribble without thinking about your actual dribble will allow you to be able to shift your focus to what's on the floor and what you got to read and where you got to tell people to go. But if you're still sitting here worried about what move to make with the person in front of me who has all this pressure, right? If you're worried about that, you won't be able to tell your teammates where to go. So the best thing I did for that, what I do to work on subconscious dribbling, is just dribble. Like dribble, I'll go to a park and I'll dribble for like a mile and a half. Maybe have some music in, and so now I'm thinking more so about the rhythm and the feel instead of actually thinking about where I'm taking this dribble and what I'm gonna do next. Like I just allow one dribble to guide to the next dribble. So, but here too. Now, when you run these stagger actions, the most important thing is pace. Because when you have pace, pace will allow you to be able to recognize these times where there's no communication, right? No communication at all to where there's practically 3 players on the ball. And now Rob gets into a jump pass, right? All coaches hate jump passes, right? They all hate jump passes, but there's going to be times where a jump pass is going to be the only lane you really have to throw to your teammate. And so when you throw a jump pass with intention, with a purpose, that's when it actually could be used for the right reasons. So Rob's lane to this, boom, jump past that over the top, find 14 on his roll, he gets that dunk. And now here too. These dudes was nervous. This is why the real miscommunication was happening. You had a whole miscommunication over here at the top. Imbalance happened. A gets the ball. And then guess what he does? Can't even get the ball in play, man. Can't even get the ball in play. These dudes was low-key nervous. Especially because Rob was cooking early on. Reed Shepard playing great. Yeah, I've been peeping. I've been seeing some stuff about Reed Shepard. I haven't been watching crazy, but I've been hearing stuff about him. So, and now pay attention to Rob. This is another defensive possession. So, you got Rob over here at the top guarding forward, right? And now you got a double screen going to his left side, Rob's left side, ball handler's right side. And so off this screen, you make the switch. But you understand, as a defender, you got to understand one thing, right? Understand one thing. When is this going to hit play? There we go. The most important thing as a defender is you worrying about who you got to guard. Your responsibility. So if you're off the ball, your responsibility is not what's on the ball. You got to take into account what's happening on the ball so you can guard off the ball properly. But don't worry so much about what's on the ball. And now Rob switching from 4 now to 12. He don't even get hit on the screen. He's still ball watching and dropping back, not recognizing the action and what 12 is actually doing. And he still gets his lob despite the fact he doesn't even get clipped and get behind the play. He just was not paying attention, right? Those are the plays that'll get him subbed out in 30 seconds. And now here offensively as well. I got to talk about this concept too. Right? So in order for you to get stronger in these situations, it's not about you really putting on more muscle mass, right? It's more so oftentimes about your ability to actually throw your weight, right? So you could get stronger and get better at hitting players in this spot, but oftentimes players don't know how to use all the weight that they have so they could get here and actually move the player that they hit instead of getting there and actually getting hit by them and you moving back and them staying in the same spot, right? That's the most important thing, learning how to move your weight. And that also boils down to coordination. And it's also a reason why you see a lot of football players, if they do have good coordination, go to basketball and are good at hitting when it comes to driving or posting up. Learn how to throw your weight. Learn how to move your weight. But now pay attention to this. This is timing. This is very important. So when Rob gets to his left side, he still got 29 on him. And he had his teammate who rolls, but now you don't got that roll anymore. You don't like the look. But the time as to which he drives is once his teammate gets down to that baseline, because now it opens up that elbow, and now he could attack going to that right side. And now boom, float, give me that too, right? But another thing about isolation you gotta pay attention to, right? Now that Rob is playing in college, reading this weak side is a completely different story. Because if you look at Buddy down here, college has no defensive 3. But in the NBA, there's a defensive 3 second. And so if you want to drive, the perfect time would be now. But he decided to shoot because he probably didn't even realize I got to read this weak side and I could time my drive with the 2-9, right? But instead, he took this shot because he hasn't taken into account the fact that that violation is present in this game. And it wasn't present in college. So now playing at this next level, you can really time your drive with those 2-9s. And so that's the end of this breakdown. We're going to be live again on Wednesday. If y'all got any questions, make sure you drop into the Discord because I got to make sure I finish the stream in under hour 15 because that's one of my deposits for the day. I got to make sure I stay locked in and I stay focused. So make sure you join the Discord in the description. Make sure you join the school community in the description. I'll respond to y'all questions probably in like an hour or so. But make sure y'all do Make sure y'all sacrifice y'all present self and invest into your future self and do everything you need to do to get to where you're here to be. So discipline or regret, you choose.